Hi, welcome to another Scrapbook Pal video. I'm Kara, and today we're preparing for Easter with some Lawn Fawn critters. So I'm using Rub-a-Dub-Dub, Hello Baby, Pick of the Patch, Upon a Star, and Harold's ABCs. For dies, I'm using Sunrise Backdrop in a really rainbow yellow, and also the Stitched Hillside Backdrop Portrait with Spring Fling and Really Rainbow, a panel in Spring Fling, and Spiffy Speckles. I'm using the largest stitched rectangle frame and one of the fancy wavy banners. So I'll start by stamping up the animals, and I'm using jet black ink from Lawn Fawn. It's Copic friendly, and we'll use Copics today. I stamped these out twice, but I think I only showed you that once. And I like to put a piece of paper under my paper that I'm coloring on, and it just helps to keep it at the right saturation. I don't know how that helps, but it does. So you can see I did one of the foxes already, but I'm showing you how I did both foxes on this one. And the shadow is going to be on their back sides. So they're facing the sun, so I want their shadow to be mostly in the middle of their backs, and so the sun is kind of coming around their round bodies. And I'm not used to shading that way. I'm used to having a dark shadow on one side or the other. So I'm trying to blend these in, and it didn't blend very well, so I'm doing the tip-to-tip technique. So I'm touching the R02 onto the R05 to blend it better. One of my favorite combinations for a fox is to use those R0s, so 0, 2, 5, and 8, and then combine that with the E-teens, so E11, 13, 15, 17, because that's a red or brown, and so the reds kind of give you that orangey red color, but then the E's kind of tone it down a little bit. So I'm working on those sides with the E11, and then now I can come back into the middle again and darken up where things were blended away. I stamped out 2 foxes and 2 bunnies that are looking straight up. Those are from the Upon a Star stamp set by Lawn Fawn, but I only use one of each, so I'll use 1 fox and 1 bunny, but I wasn't sure which ones I was going to use, so I stamped them both. So for this fox's tail and little white spots, I'm using a warm gray and not going very dark with that, just to give it some shadow there. And now I'm really darkening up around the areas that would be the most dark. Now, it's not too dark on their backs because they are in full sunshine, so I didn't want to make it too dramatically different. All right, so I'm starting on this bunny, and I kind of forgot that I was going in the middle, and I started going on the sides of his face, but I realized, oops, I want the middle, so here's the W0, just to find where I want those shadows. And I always start fairly light, so it really isn't going to affect anything. But then when I decide where they're going to be, I can come in with my darkest one, and here it's a W3, and darken up those shadows. So under his neck, where that's going to really cast a shadow because his head is tilted back, and then rounding out where his ears are and his head, and then down by his feet and his tail. And I won't make his tail too dark because it's sticking out away from his body, so the sun is probably getting casted onto that. And I blended it out with the W0 and now the W00. And then I will come back in with that darkest one again and add in some of the darkest shadows again. All right, on to that next little bunny. I won't show you all of this because it was kind of done the same way, but the sunshine will be, he's going to be on the left side. So the sun is shining on his right, and so his shadows are on the left. And I'm just blending further and further onto his body, lighter and lighter as I go. And so our squirrel here, he's going to be in the E20s. Wanted to kind of keep him different than the fox. And so I'm finding my shadows. He's going to be on the right side of the card, so the sun will be shining on his left. So I want those shadows on the right. And I found where I like the shadows, so I'm darkening those up. And then I will blend that out into his body, sort of the opposite way that I did the bunny. So we have some red foxes and white bunnies. So this is the brown squirrel, and then we'll have a yellow duck, but I want to keep that yellow kind of neutral too, because I don't have a lot of color going on in these animals, so I didn't want to all of a sudden pop out some bright color with that duck. So we'll keep him more of a buttery yellow than a bright yellow. But back to our squirrel. So to get the very light colors for him, I'm using an E00 to give him, I like that transition from the E21 to the E00. It works well for skin as well. But this is the E27, so I'm really darkening up around his shadow areas now. And then I'll blend that back into the body with the E25. I chose these animals that could be positioned on either side or in the middle that were looking like they were either joyous or looking up, because they're all kind of looking at the sunshine. My idea here is all creatures, great and small, coming out to see the sunrise on Easter morning. All right, so these are those buttery yellows for the duck. So the Y21, Y23 keeps him kind of soft, but then a little brighter where the sun is shining on him. So he's got a Y000, and then a YR14 and 68 for his feet and his bill. Just darkening up that a little bit with the 68 and blending that back in with the YR14. Now in Copic numbering, 68, it seems so different than that 14, but the 68 is just a nice bright orange. All right, I'm darkening up those areas that were blended away, and now it's time to die cut them out. So I'm putting a little post-it tape on each of these dies. I'm only showing 2 of them, but I will show you all the coordinating dies that go with these characters. And I'll run these through my die cutting machine, and here they are, all cut out, ready to go on their card. All right, so let's put that card together. This is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel. The sunrise is in the landscape position, but I'm going to use that with the portrait style hillside. I only partially cut the hillsides in order to save paper. So I'm clipping the light paper layer, and I'm going to put that on top of the darker paper. And then this frame pulls it all together. So I could have kept the darker green hillside and used it as a frame, but I wanted a contrast there, so we have the spiffy speckle frame. So I can put that lighter hill onto the darker hill, and then I want to figure out where I want this sunshine. So if I put it directly the way it would fit, the sun is kind of low there, but I wanted it a bit higher. So I'm just pulling up that sunshine and kind of figuring out where I want it. And then I can adhere that on there, making sure that the hill kind of still covers the one edge of the sunshine on the left there. Figure out where that frame would go on top, and then I can press that down. And I'll just clip that out with my trimmer, and there it is. All right, I'm going to use the Tombow Mono Dot Runner tape runner to adhere my hills, and then I'll use the Lawn Fawn glue tube for the frame. So a nice thin bead of glue all the way around, and I can adhere it to my panel. I really like these stitched frames. I just recently got these, and I'm wondering, why didn't I get these before? They're extremely versatile. All right, well, now we're on to our sentiment, and I'm using Harold's ABCs, and I'm finding all my letters that I'm going to use, and I'm placing them on this banner, and then I'll just position them to make sure they curve well, and I have them where I want them. The nice thing about all the letter combinations from Lawn Fawn and their words as well is they're on rectangles, so they just they fit together very easily, and the spacing works perfectly as well. All right, so I'm just inking this up, and I'm putting it on a piece of acetate first, just to make sure I have it where I want it, and I can see my banner can move down a little, so I'm keeping the acetate where it was and just moving the banner so that I have that centered. Take away the acetate and ink that up, stamp it out, and it's right where I want it. So I'm going to actually ink this up, I think 3 times, because I really wanted a bold look there. And this banner, it's one of 3 in their fancy Wavy banner die sets, but it has the Z fold, so I'm folding it back and forth, and I'm going to place it up in the sky. Now this is the Tombow foam tape that I recently got from Scrapbook Pal, and so I still have that initial green liner on there, but I really like this foam tape. It's thicker than other foam tapes, and so that's just another dimension option, is to have some thick and some thin, or however you need your foam tape. Sometimes when I'm making an interactive card, it would be nice to have a little bit thicker foam behind the mechanisms, and this gives me that. So I'm putting it on the banner and making sure that I've got those Z-folds kind of tucked in under there. And it's time to put on our characters. So I'm going to place them all out where I think I want them to go, and then I'll adhere them down. Now I'm going to adhere them in a kind of a dimensional way. So the smaller animals are going to be closer to the sun, because the larger animals, if they're close to you, they're going to be bigger, and if they're further away, they're going to be smaller. So that's what I'm trying to achieve here. So the small bunny is going to be closer to the sun, away from us, and the large fox is closer to us. Putting on the thick foam onto the fox, and I just used tape runner on those 2 bunnies, but then the squirrel and the little duck will have a bit thinner foam tape. So I have 3 different layers of dimension going on there. All right, I have a side folding note card, so it's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch note card. To Took my tape runner and adhered that down, and the card is all done. I hope you enjoyed the video today, and all of the supplies are linked below in the description and can all be found at scrapbookpal.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!